Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. We are very, very happy today to be doing a quick video on Endless Legends 2. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the much-awaited sequel by all of the fans of the Endless series out there has finally been announced. It is going to be Endless Legends 2, and I, for one, am very, very happy with this news. So after an 8-year contract with Sega has finished, and after over just 10 years of waiting since Endless Legend 1, we now know 100% that we are going to be getting an Endless Legend 2. Now, this game is, of course, going to be fairly similar to the first. It's a 4X game. It is, of course, going to have the same 4 resources as all of the Endless games, and it is going to have diplomacy, economy, exploration, etc., etc. Like I said, of course, it is a 4X game. It is, of course, also going to be on a hex map. We can tell that from the pictures. Now, we don't have a lot of information, but there are a few things we can deduce. So we have been told it is a fairly narrative game as well. Expect something similar, I would say, to the first one, where, of course, each faction has its own quest line, and you have to go off and pursue these quests to eventually go and get the story-style win with these factions. There are, of course, other types of victory that are going to be available that have in essence been hinted to, because we have been told that every faction will have a different archetype. So every faction will have its own unique strengths and weaknesses. This was very much hinted at during Amplified, where one of the game developers literally went and said that after playing their favorite faction that they have in fact gone and created, and they kept playing, when they went and played one of the other factions, they started to believe that the game was in fact imbalanced and broken. This was simply due to the fact that they were playing the new faction just like the old faction, and it did not work. So there you go. But once they, of course, don't worry, once they, of course, did play as you should do for the new faction, because as we went and said, every faction is unique, it did, in fact, work. So that, of course, just gives you some kind of idea as to the fact that, yes, these factions are different to each other. Now, the other things that we know, for instance, we're, of course, on a new planet. This one is called Saida, as opposed to Auriga, and the narrative story background does seem to have changed quite dramatically. Auriga, mother to us all, who looked after her children and hoped the best for them, has very much changed. This new planet, its jailers now having left, it's now potentially being able to gain some freedom, which is a much different narrative. So hopefully we'll see this in the type of quests and the things that we have to do. Are we going to be tempted to free some kind of entity from the planet's core and maybe release it into the universe? Are we going to be having to play the role of a jailer and do what we believe is best, even if it goes against the planet we live on? Who only knows? We will find out the story, of course, as the game gets released. And talking about release, there is rumors of an early 2025 release date for the early access. Not the full game, but for the early access. Now, of course, typically with early accesses, so we're likely to have it probably in early access for at least a year, if not 18 months, as a lot of early accesses seem to go these days. So we'll see how that goes in general. So maybe full game release early to mid 2026. That, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is pure speculation by myself. I do have no inside information, unfortunately. The other things that we know is that when you start off on the new maps, you will generally be playing quite an ocean-style map. Now, that's kind of interesting. In my opinion, and I think in several others shared by people, the ocean aspect of Endless Legend 1 was probably one of the weaker aspects of the game. This is, however, not how the whole game is going to play out, as they do have something called Tidefall. And this, in essence, is the receding of the water line. And so as this goes forward, your land increases, things start to get revealed. You will also then be able to see potential future teasers of things to be revealed, as, of course, things will be sticking out of the ground. There will be a height mechanic. And so then eventually, I don't know if we're going to end up in like one giant Pangea-style continent, but the land masses will increase, and eventually these little islands that all of the races have to themselves will start to get linked. And so that's when clashing with your neighbors through many of the aspects that you can clash with your neighbors over will begin. Now, there's, like I said, there's not too much that has been revealed. We've been told there will be, potential fortresses hiding under the water, doom wraiths hiding under the water, We're not quite sure, but we should hopefully get quite a few more reveals soon once the early access is available, which of course I will be featuring on this channel, so do stick around if you'd like to see more of the game once it is available. And so other than that, the other little bits we've got, there are going to be 4 playable factions, and 2 more will be added. So you'll have 6 starting factions. I have no doubt there will probably be some more with DLC and as the game develops. Who knows? Of course, a lot of things can change in early access. Maybe we'll even get a couple more before full release. There is, of course, going to continue to be heroes, just like there is in every Endless game. We do know that. That was mentioned during the interview. There is, of course, a trailer and several pictures, which will probably allude for many of us out there some of the races that we're going to be getting from the beginning of early access. And so on that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for listening to me waffle for a while. I'm very happy and very excited to play Endless Legends 2 as soon as it gets released. And if all of you are as well, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And as soon as it becomes available, hey, let's dive in and play this much anticipated, awesomely awaited sequel to a legendary game.